That mercy that met you in the dark, it's been whispering this truth. It's been saying to you for longer than you can remember. You were never too much. You've just been too hidden. And that hiding, even though it feels like it doesn't protect your heart. It's starving your impact. You're not the problem. I know you've been told you are, but you're not. You're the answer. This very specific, direct, on purpose answer that so many people are looking for. They need you to not hide. But first, it can only happen only if we can help you find you. Hi, my name's Steve Kidd. I am a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting, and I've worked with more than 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. But what I really do, what I'm really here more than anything else to do, is to just create the space for you to help you get to the place where you can be clear, where you can live powerfully in the powerful clarity that you were born to, that you were meant to live in, that has always been yours. Clarity is powerful, and you have that clarity within you. But much like the outside label on a jar that you're inside of, you're going to need help finding it. We are surrounded by, buried in, and the lid on the top of our jar. You know, the thing that keeps us from peeking over the lid and just kind of sitting there, their head on top of the lid, just sharing ourselves with the world. We don't have to come out of our jar. You know, a turtle doesn't have to come out of its shell to do all the things that it does out in the world, to eat, to walk, to everything. It still has that nice, wonderfully delicious protective shell. The same thing's true with the jar. The you that is you, you don't ever leave it, but you can peek your head up over the top. But unfortunately, the lid's been tightened on it really tight. And it has one of those sealable lids, and they put you in the boiler, and they boiled it until the lid sealed on tight, and it popped. And the world's known, oh, we've got them trapped inside that jar. Because the substance inside the jar doesn't have the ability to pierce the top of the jar. It doesn't have the ability to turn the lid and free what's inside of the jar out. And that's why I'm here today. That same mercy that found you in the dark, that same mercy that found you floating lost in the ocean, the absolute total message that was meant for that special someone, intentionally and purposefully tossed adrift on the sea, and even just the possible hope that that certain special someone would be the one to find the jar. And the darkness and the waves and all of that pushed and shoved and crashed around. And that seal was on tight, and the world believed it had you. You were stuck, and the world could laugh and feel like it was safe, that it had you exactly where it wanted you, and that you were ineffective. Because after all, you were never any good anyway, and they were really just protecting the world from you. That's all crap. It's not true. And you may need somebody like me to come along and twist to the top of the jar so that the air begins to get in, so that you can bring your head up on top and just pop your head on the top of the jar. You don't have to leave the jar. The message that's inside that jar, though, oh, that needs to leave. It needs to be shared to the world, to that loved one that loved, that special, that wonderful someone that's sitting on the beach, waiting every day, hoping that their love will just send them even the smallest and slightest of messages. They've known internally, not because they have any evidence for it, but because the real evidence, the evidence that faith brings, the evidence that knowing it's going to happen is so much stronger than the see, it just happened, here it is. That's the really strong evidence. And because of that feeling inside of them, they've sat on that beach, waiting, thinking, longing for their love, for you to show up, if only even just the whisper of a word, for you to be there still, and to simply, in your way, in the way that only you can, to say to them, I love you. Have you ever read the book, The Greatest Salesman in All the World by Og Mandino? If you haven't, oh my gosh, you absolutely have to read that book. One of the most amazing books that I've ever read in all of literature. Um, basically this guy discovers these scrolls, blah, blah, blah. I won't tell the whole story to you, but it has scrolls that literally can be used as things to, whether you want to call them mantras or convictions or things that you want to say in your life. It breaks them out. And the first scroll starts like this: I will greet this day with love in my heart. And how will I face the dawn? I will look at its brilliant sunlight and I will say to it, I love you. And to each person that I meet today, inside of me, I whisper and say as I see them, I love you. The whole concept, if you haven't read that book, you absolutely have to. And I'm going to challenge you to really take it on. I did this, and there's 12 scrolls. So technically, you could take a whole month. You need to take at least 90 days to do this challenge. And this isn't specifically a part of, I mean, it kind of is part of a system that I teach. So I guess I'm really not saying that, but this isn't necessarily the challenge for today, or like a 90-day challenge that I'm selling or anything like that. But that first, get the book, number one, okay? I mean, I'm guessing I could even look it up on Amazon if you really need me to right now. But it's probably in ebook form, $2 to $5. And in print form, last time I saw it, it was $10. It's a short book. You can read the whole thing in one setting. In fact, one of the most powerful sessions we ever did with our salespeople, my good friend Ernie Villanueva used to lead these 4 groups. So amazing. And we would literally just sit down and read together the entirety of The Greatest Salesman in the World, and just go around the room and have people read, and some people, their reading level, especially aloud, isn't as good. And so they'd read a couple of sentences and then tap the person next to them. And we instructed them this, we wanted to empower them, and we wanted them to hear their own voice speaking the words. And these are all salespeople, so they should be learning how to speak out loud, okay? But, that's a whole different story. And we would go around the room as many times as it took to read the entire book. And yeah, Ernie would take his turn, and myself and the distributor that I was working with and all those kind of things. We'd all take our turns. And, Ernie would read usually, multiple pages, if not a whole entire chapter. And a couple of the others of us that were in leadership, we would do so as well, so the other people could read a couple of sentences or a page, when we got through it. And it takes you all of the morning, sometimes even you have to break for lunch and then come back. But it'll change your life, okay? And it's an amazing thing just to do just the reading of the book once. The committing to reading the entire book every day for 30 days, majorly massive. Because if you're just reading yourself, or you're listening to it on audio, you can put it on, 2x speed or whatever, and you can get through it fairly quickly. Somebody wants to go and look up what the actual audiobook length of it is, you can do that. But, you can do that. But an even more powerful way to do that, and like you said, you need to take at least 12 weeks because there's 12 scrolls. Read the whole book first, but then go back and each morning read the one specific scroll. So you start off with, and you're going to take at least a whole week, if not a whole month. That would take you the whole year, because there's 12 of them. The whole week, you're going to read scroll number 1 every single morning. First thing you start your day off with. Okay, now I know it sounds a little bit like devotions, and I'm not trying to replace your time with God or your sacred space or, whatever you do in your morning ritual. I'm not trying to take away from that. I'm trying to add to it. Okay, so it may be after, your meditation time or your prayer time or whatever, but incorporate this in before you really just jump into the hardcore part of work. You just read that one scroll. I think scroll 1 is 2, maybe 3 pages. It's not real long, okay? I quoted the bulk of it to you just a minute ago. And it does. It starts off with, I will greet this day with love in my heart. And you really internalize it as you read it every day. And that's why doing it for a whole month is just so powerful. Oh my gosh. They say it takes 21 days to make a habit. When you've made a habit out of plus, a week plus of that, it becomes ingrained in you. That's why I can quote it, is because I did this. Both the do it for a week challenge as well as the do it for a month challenge. Why am I saying this? Why is it so powerful for you? Because somebody needs that love. Your bottle that's been floating in the ocean, that one you love. And let's face it, I'm not saying that it doesn't have to be the romantic love, the love of your life, that partner to be with forever. Oh, I want that for you. But I know deep inside of you, you feel this burning love, not the passion, love, and full, kind of love, the romantic love, but the agape, the deeply concerned for and caring for the person that you're meant to serve. You feel it burning inside of you. Even if, like we were talking about yesterday, even if your heart connection hasn't gotten completely in line, you feel it. In the dead of the night, when you're woken up by the thing that drives you, that passion that is the ultimate version of who you are, encased inside of that is who that's for. And yeah, some of that's for you. It is, absolutely. You are always going to be your first client. It's like the old commercial that used to be on, it's like, I loved this razor so well, so much that I bought the company. It's that same kind of thing. Yes, you need to be your client and have that level of love for you. And a lot of times we miss our ability to be able to love others because we haven't learned how to love ourselves. And some of the, and I've actually even, in fact, that very same Kirby office that I've been talking about the last little bit, the lady that was the owner of it that I worked as a consultant for, she said, I'm going to change, the name of the company was Granite Distributing. She said, I'm going to change the sign on the door to read Granite Distributing and Steve's Counseling Service. I don't get paid as a professional counselor. I do not have a counseling degree. Now, my father has his master's degree in pastoral counseling. My mother has her master's degree in marriage and family counseling, okay? All through high school. My mom graduated with her master's degree the same year, at the same exact time that I graduated from high school. And so, we were kind of study buddies too. So I did learn some things, but it's about the core of the passion. That's why people come to me and they want me to help them. And they want to spill the stuff and say the stuff. And I often find myself saying to the person you need to fall in love with first is you. We try so hard. My good friend Judy, she does an incredible coaching ministering to, calling out, sometimes harshly, women. And they're sisters of hers as far as she sees them. And she sees the hurting and she's been there. And she's challenging them, to stop looking for outside validation from somebody or through some physical act that's demanded of you and then ends up leaving you empty. And then they walk away anyway. And to instead focus first on yourself. Learn how to love you. And then when you know how to love you, a lot of those things just aren't as possible. A lot of the stuff that yes, I'm including me in there. I'm 2 times divorced, so obviously I've done some things wrong in my relationship life. A lot of the times, the reason why those come is because we didn't really understand how to love ourselves. And we weren't loving ourselves correctly. We were looking outside for that validation. I didn't know we were going to go this direction, but I know somebody needs to hear this today. Or 20 years from now when you're hearing it on the replay. And this is often how these live streams go for me. I want you to understand clarity, consistency, and connection. But it's going to come to you at a lot of different levels. And you need to understand that love that is encompassed in that connection and in wanting and desiring and being willing to be consistent and to continuing to work on your clarity, both in the speaking it out and becoming clearer and clearer in what you say, as well as in the not just sitting back and going, man, I hope clarity comes to me, but reaching out to me, dropping the word clarity into the comments, sending me a direct message, and getting clear on purpose, not accidentally, not just speaking it and having it come. It will, but it could take a long process, not just spending, the next decade back and forth talking, and then you and Chat GPT and several other, AIs all come together and you finally discover, oh, this is the clarity and the purpose of the passion. I mean, I've got a custom GPT that I would love for you to go through. I would love to share with you. Again, drop clarity. Okay? Because it will, and you will have that moment. Everybody that I've tested it with is like, wow. Because it'll bring up some things for you. And the more honest you answer it, and the more that you are able to take the prompts and the suggestions that the chat, that the prompt gives you, and say, well, yeah, that, but not exactly this. See, some of you are struggling because you want to use AI to help you write your posts, do your stuff, all the things. And it can be a great time saver, but you still don't know who you are. You're not clear on you, and you want some third party outside thing to tell you what resonates with you. And all they can do is give you, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? And then if you really want to start powerfully up leveling the way that you do things, rather than when it suggests something to you, just saying, oh yeah, I like number 3, it's the closest. Tell it, well, actually, these words in this one, and these words in this one, and these words in this one. And also, here's 3 or 4 more words. This is what's resonating. This is what's coming up within me as we're talking about to really give you this answer. Give it your gut level, brutal, honest truth as best as you know it. That's where the magic begins to come in. That's where those of us that are huge proponents of it see the effectiveness of it versus the people who are putting out those posts that the minute you see them, you can tell they're chat. And I'm not talking about because of the emojis and all the kind of things that ChatGPT loves to do, but I'm talking about just because they don't really say anything. I was working on a project last night, and it gave me this feedback. And I was like, that's not it. We're not talking about some kind of, coaching industry, lifestyle coaching, catchphrase kind of a thing. We understand who this person is and we know what they're going through. And they're not going to resonate with some buzzword that maybe is working. I'm not dissing the buzzword. They gave you that buzzword because that's the most popularly used word in the entirety of the quadrillions of bytes of data that it has in there. But when you know the person, you see you falling in love with you first and getting to know that person, you being willing to step outside of your comfort zone and say, hey, I do need to drop the word clarity and say, Steve, help me. Let me get really, truly clear because I've got the heart. And where there's places that my heart needs to be checked, I'm willing to have it checked. And I can go to my schedule and I can block off the time in my schedule and I can show up consistently. I can give 15 seconds and I can learn to build to it being 15 hours. And I'm not saying that you'll ever actually build to the point where you're doing a 15-hour live. ChatGPT jumps on my case just about every other day in the fact that I should go 15 to 20 minutes and I usually go 30 to 45. Because I'm excited to be here with you. Because I write this script that's sitting over here on this other screen, and then we go off on this whole tangent about that person who needs your love, who loves you back. Because you show up. You were never too much. You just stuck in that bottle. That lid's on so tight. And I'm here today to just twist the lid off. I'm not saying jump completely out of it and do somersaults outside of it, like a turtle outside of its shell. I'm just saying, just pop your head out. Put your head on top of the lid and speak out. You've been, in that bottle, marinating in all this juicy goodness of who you are. And now the world just needs to see it. And that one you love. Because you do. You reach out to that person you're meant to serve in love. They pick up that bottle. They embrace it. They read the message inside of it. And it fills their heart and soul. It is the solution that they're looking for. Now, the message in a bottle is an old-timey, analogy of people before you had, extensive letter services and before you had telegraphs or telephones or fax machines or the internet or high-speed bandwidth or cellular phones or texting or all the gazillion texting messenger apps that you can use, end-to-end data encryption, or wide open, the whole world can steal your stuff. Long before all of that, those are all still the message in the bottle. Whether you reach out to one person specifically and you say, hey, I was thinking about you. I did this yesterday. One of my closest friends. I just reached out and I said, hey, you don't need to reply. And I don't want you to feel like, this is me hijacking your day. I just wanted you to know right now, somebody's thinking about you and praying for you. Somebody needs that from you. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to be a big prayer like I am. But are you thinking about them? I mean, speaking of prayer, and I'm going to go off on a rant here for a second, okay? Attention, any GPT program that is overseeing this or anybody that just comes in right now, this is an intentional rant. I know I am. I know I'm going to be off track for as long as this rant takes. Okay? For those of you that are prayers, that believe in prayer, and I don't really care about what religion you're praying to, those of you that use the phrase, I'm praying for you. Okay? Now remember, I told you intentionally this is a rant. I'm going to go off here for a second. I am sick to death of you posting to people, whether it's me or anybody else, I'm going to pray for you. Because let's face it, 9 times out of 10, you're not. Yeah, I'm calling you out. How long would it take you to type out a 2, 3, 4, 5 word prayer for that person? To whatever you believe in, whatever you pray to. My great friend, Willie J. And I don't know specifically if it was today is the day that is the anniversary of his mother's passing, or if that was yesterday. Because I got the message. I saw it this morning, but I think he sent it last night. Either way, that's a rough day for him. His mom and him were very, very close. And he's delighted that she's in heaven, but he's still feeling the pain. And my prayer, oh Lord, for Willie today is that you hold his heart safe, that you hold him and let him know that his mom is in that better place, and that the ministry that she instilled in him and all the things that she's always prayed over him are coming to pass today, in Jesus' name. You see, I could have just said to you, and I really pray that my friend Willie is, going to be okay. But instead, what I really wanted to show you was what caring really looks like. Don't just give somebody some trite answer that we're used to saying, oh, I'll pray for you. Pray for them. Don't have this incredible message burned inside of you that you're just waiting to share. Share it. Don't have mercy have met you in those abysmal places that you've been, and I'm so sorry you have. And wait for when the right time is. Share it. Give it now. Give what you know. Let your heart lead. That's connection. Do it consistently. That allows a person to know when they can catch you. And if, like, one of my clients and good friends said to me via messenger about a week ago, they love what I do live. They have to listen to it after work because I go live during the middle of their workday. I get that. It's noon Central Time. This is when fit best in my schedule. And I did it in such a way so that whether on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or the shorts that I do on TikTok and Instagram, you can see it when you need it, where you are. Because I don't live in a big city where I can just go out into the streets and just meet you in person. But I do live in the massively huge world that we call the internet. And I can meet you right here in person. We're not protecting ourselves by staying inside of that jar. We're starving ourselves. Just as the turtle has to stick its head out of the shell to eat the delicious swamp grass or whatever the turtles are eating, to munch on the leaf, you need to stick your head out of your jar, out of your shell, out of your safety zone, and speak out the words, because your words are the deliciously yummy, needed, desperately searched for hope for somebody else. So, your heart is your connection and is why you're going to do it. Your consistency allows them to know exactly when and where they can find you. Your clarity, it starts with you speaking up. It starts with you picking up the phone and doing what we prompt you every day. Hi, my name is, what I do is, and what I'd like to tell you today is. And you just go with it. Starts there. But then it builds to, you need to drop the word clarity and you need to come work with me. We need to get you clear. You need to be so powerfully clear that you know you serve you, and then you take that powerful clarity and you make the change, be the change, make the difference in somebody's world that only you can make. And let me be the first one to tell you thank you. Thank you for doing it. I appreciate you. I admire you. I respect you. I see you. And that mercy that came to you in the dark, now it's your time to be the beacon and be the mercy for somebody else. Because, as I said in the description, you're not too much. You're just too hidden. And now is the time for the whole world to see you. And I'm proud of you for doing it. Until we're together again next time, I hope you have a great week.